Welcome to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by LA's First Choice Auto Auction on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion Football. Now, live from Topolok Catering in downtown Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Hi, everybody. Line up from downtown Hammond, America at Topolok Catering. It's another edition of Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. I'm not Alan Waddell. I am Robbie Rhodes, sitting in this week for Alan, who is on the road this week for business. So getting a chance to sit in with Coach today, and it should be a great hour talking Lion football. And a Lion victory Monday. Southeastern with a huge win on homecoming against Houston Baptist, 62-52 in a back-and-forth football game. Coach will be with us in a few minutes to dive into that game and break it down and talk about what went right for Southeastern to get that victory against Houston Baptist this past Saturday afternoon. It was homecoming, great festivities. We'll also talk about that. We'll also talk about this week's opponent, the Abilene Christian Wildcats, coming in here to Strawberry Stadium for the second consecutive home game here at Hammond. First one we've had this year with back-to-back weeks. The Lions get to play at home. So all that and more here coming up on a great fun-filled edition of Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you in part by our friends at Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and our host tonight live at Topolok Catering. We'll take a time out and come back on the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
Hey Lion fans, your defending Southland Conference champions return to the court very soon. We are very excited about this season. Get your season tickets now. It's going to be a great year. Line up.
Welcome back, everybody. We're at Topolok Catering here in downtown Hammond on a glorious Monday night, coming off of a big Lion victory, and it was on homecoming to make it even better. 62-52, the Lions won over Houston Baptist. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction. Our host tonight, Topolok Catering, and my pleasure to be joined up here with us, the head football coach of the Southeastern Lions, Coach Frank Scelfo. Coach, good to have you tonight.
Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it, man. Great to be here. Glad you're here. Miss Allen, right?
No,
Alan's working tonight,
but
Alan. Yeah, I guess probably not too hard.
This will be the best show of the year.
Nice. That's good. I'm sure he's listening in right now.
Well, he's in Las Vegas. Would you?
No, I'd be embarrassed. I would not be listening in if I was in Vegas right now.
Well, Coach, you got a great win, and it's always good to win at home, especially for your seniors. Not only your seniors on your team, but seniors in the student body, former players, former students coming back for homecoming, especially to win on homecoming, and you were able to accomplish that in a nice fashion against the Houston Baptist team. That's really, to me, a team that's watched them since they came in the Southland Conference that has vastly improved since they got in this league.
Yeah, the support that we received throughout the week, phone calls and emails and things like that, of people coming in and watching us for the first time, and it was pretty it was heartwarming to see how many people were getting back involved in the program and the university, and the Lion Walk was awesome. The parade, I mean, it was 10 deep on both sides. The radio stations did a great job. The promotions, it was just such a, and then top it off with the weather, and us being able to win the game was obviously the topping on the cake. But it was good. It felt good. First homecoming here for me, and it was great. I really not so much enjoyed the game as much. I enjoyed the outcome of the game a whole lot better than I enjoyed the game, to tell you the truth. But we did get the win, and that's what's important.
Yeah, this is what's important at the end of the day. It's another win for Southeastern. They're 3-2 in the Southland Conference, now 3-4 overall in the 9-game conference schedule the Southland Conference puts out. Before we dive into Houston Baptist, Coach, you're starting to get here. You got 4 games left. You're still in the mix for the Southland Conference title. You in a lot of ways, you control your own destiny because you play still a lot of the teams that are ahead of you. Are you guys and your team or your coaching staff even, you're talking about that, or you're still approaching it a one game at a time situation as you make the back end of the schedule?
No, we're one game at a time. Yeah, always one game at a time, one play at a time, and just continue grinding. Make practice on Tuesday the best practice you can have, and top it off with one on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, play the game on Saturday, and then move on from there. But we're not celebrating homecoming anymore. We moved on. We jumped on the ACU today, and we'll talk about them in a little bit, but they're a good football team, coming off a big win this past weekend. So, they'll be ready. They'll be prepared to play against us on Saturday.
Coach, I think you look at this football game, I think a lot of people talk about this, the distractions of homecoming week and things like that, a lot of things going on campus, coming off of a tough loss on the road against Incarnate Word. How proud of you were your guys to respond the way they did after, coming off of a tough loss and all the activities going on in that homecoming week?
Well, distractions are a part of college football. If ESPN Game Day shows up on your campus, there's a lot of distractions. What you got to do is you got to focus in on what's really important. We tell them all the time, keep the main thing, and the game is the main thing. The other stuff is great. We enjoy it. We love to be a part of it. But at the end of the day, the game is what's important, and the execution during the course of the game is what's critical. So we did some really good things, and I don't want that to be overlooked. But we did make a lot of mistakes, and we continue to correct them. We continue to work on them. We continue to stress them, and we'll continue to grow from that as long as we take it in the right frame of mind. So even though there was a lot of things going on, that you hope that the focus for the most part was on the football game, and that's what we preach every day.
Coach, let's dive into this football game. And I mean, the thing that stood out to me, and I think it stood to a lot of fans at home and in the stadium and listening and watching wherever they were, was the defensive touchdowns. And I think that's something that, if you can get those defensive touchdowns, I think you can win games. The percentages are just amazing at every level of football. If you can get turnovers, but if you can get points off turnovers, that just elevates your chances to win games. You had 21 points off defensive touchdowns, and Zeke Walker's pick six got it started.
Yeah, I've never been in a game like that. After the game, I was talking to Vic Shealy, the head coach at HBU, and he's been coaching 33 years. I've been 36, and we've never seen 5 defensive touchdowns in the same game.
Yeah.
So it was kind of out of control, man. Stuff was happening. You never got a chance to take a breath, and which is okay. That's how our games are. They're like that every week. And it comes down to the end, but it shows you the resiliency of our guys being able to come back, mount a drive at the end. We get the big return by Devontae, and then a great play by CJ on the edge, just scoring the last touchdown, and then topping it off with another defensive touchdown to put the game away. So it's never over, man. You got to keep playing till the end.
Coach, the Houston Baptist quarterback was really impressive to me, I thought, and the way he was able to really he didn't really break any big runs, but he was able to just keep himself alive in the pocket. The Lions did a good job, I thought, getting pressure on him. But he got out of it. He got out of the pocket, and he kept his eyes down the field. And as a quarterback coach yourself, and that's what you teach. And he's a guy who's probably came a long way as the season has progressed as you watched tape last week. Talk about, how you guys were able to corral him for the most part last week.
Yeah, he did a much better job scrambling and picking up first downs the other night. They were 9 of 16 on third down of conversions, and that allowed them to stay on the field. We got to cut, and we've been really good defensively on third downs up at the top of the conference up until this past week. So them being 9 of 16 on third downs is well over 50%, and it was because of him being able to move in the pocket. We won some of the battles one-on-one. We just didn't do a good job containing or maintaining our rush lanes, which allowed him a little spot to get out of there, and him either throwing or running. He did a good job. He's a good player, solid. We've seen some good quarterbacks in this conference, and guys do some good things, some special things on Saturdays, and that's pretty neat to watch.
Trey Spann comes up with that second interception, a 50-yard interception return at that course of the game, and that really got you guys up 28-0 at that point in time. But your offense sprinkled in some big-time plays and some nice drives too. And I thought the opening drive of the game was really impressive. You guys used the ground, something you guys have talked about. You want to do each and every week and get a little bit better at that. And you guys predominantly drove the football on that drive on the ground to get in the end zone.
Yeah, we ran the ball well. I thought the O-line did a good job, being more physical, changing the line of scrimmage and getting more vertical push. Trey's interception was really, textbook for us. We brought a corner blitz on that one, and he jumped a route, which was really the quarterback didn't see him. He jumped a route and was able to pick it and run down the sidelines. And like you said, put us up 28-0. But we had set the tone up until that point, and things kind of went south after that from a focus standpoint. We had some breakdowns. And those are the things we got to, we just got to eliminate. When you get ahead, you got to go for it. You got to do everything that you can to maintain your level of intensity and not back off, and we didn't do that.
Coach, the touchdown to go up 21-0, before the Trey Span interception was that old jump pass that Lorenzo Nunez, I thought, executed really well to Branson Schwabel right there. That's got to be something the kids like putting in this week, getting ready for that game down
the
line.
Robbie, anytime you put in something, at the beginning of the week, they'll laugh and giggle and say this is cool, and then you run it again on Friday right before the game, on Saturday, and then you actually run it on Saturday and it works and everybody goes nuts. So it was good, great play design by Greg Stevens and the offensive staff, and they executed it well. Lorenzo got it in there to Branson. Branson made a nice catch, kind of tripped coming out, but he caught it, and it was good to see him. He's a target for us down there. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to cover him when you get down in the red zone because he can be a weapon for us.
Well, I noticed on that one touchdown, the one pass down in the red zone he had later in the game, they double-teamed Branson. It was broken up. So that just goes to show you how much respect teams are giving him down there.
Yeah, I think when you look at us, you know that you're going to have to cover him when you get down there. So he's been a weapon for us all year. We still, you design plays for him each week, but sometimes the defense can take those away. But there's things designed in our package each week where we're going to get the football to him, figure out a way to get it to him. And if defenses overcompensate, they'll leave something else for another player to make a big play.
Coach, one other thing that stood out on the sheet for me, stats-wise, was Lorenzo Nunez threw 2 passes. We just talked about the one touchdown. But how big of an element is that, whether it's a big completion or not, to get him, when he comes in the game, get on tape for other teams to look at? When he comes in, he's not just going to run it, but he could throw the football.
Yeah, there was a tendency for him to run the football, especially in the red zone. And so we put that play in specifically for that, to break that tendency and have him, the safeties kind of jump the quarterback run. So we're able to get that out for a touchdown. But I think Lorenzo poses a problem for anybody with his ability to run the football. And when he's in there, you got to account for that. And that's why him being able to throw the football is so important for us at times. So, when you design things offensively, you do things to take advantage of the defense schematically, but you also put the ball in your best players' hands and figure out what they can do with it.
Coach, as we kind of continue on with this game against Houston Baptist, I thought Jonathan Tatum had a really nice game. I know he had that one miss that he wants to have back, obviously, but he's a senior. He's a guy who's been in the program, and I think he had a really nice kick in the football. And he's been kind of a guy who's been under the radar a little bit, but has had a really nice season for the Lions.
He has. He's 6'8" on field goals and perfect on extra points, and I guess I ought to knock on wood. I don't know. Do you do that? Yeah. Maybe so. But, he's done a good job. He had a good camp for us, So we got a lot of confidence in him. If we're crossing, if we get across the 30-yard line or, around that area, maybe the 32, he's going to be good if there's no wind. And we feel confident about him kicking the football because he was money in camp. He had a good summer, and he's had a good season for us. Feel good about it. He's done a good job.
Coach, we kind of broke down this first quarter, beginning part of this game. After this break, we're going to get into when it got kind of wild there.
Did anything else happen after that?
Well, I don't remember much. Maybe you can talk to me more about that as we go on here. So I'll take a timeout and come back here. We're at Topla Catering, our fantastic host for this show each and every Monday night. We'll take a break, come back for more of Inside Southeastern Football with head coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction on the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.
Hey, Lion fans. I'm Frank Scelfo, the head football coach for your Southeastern Lions. It's important for us to excel on the field, but it's even more important for us to recognize our great community partners.
That's why we have this exciting new promotion here at Big Frog with Southeastern Athletics.
Come by our Big Frog location on Southwest Railroad Avenue for exclusive Frank Scelfo design shirt.
That's right. When you wear your exclusive shirt to any Lions football game at Strawberry Stadium, be sure to stop by the concession stand to claim your free order of nachos for being a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics and Big Frog.
So hurry on down to Big Frog at our Hammond location and pick up your shirt today.
Lion up and frog on!
without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
Downtown Hammond, America tonight for the Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. We're live at Toplock Catering here on East Thomas Street. Show's brought to you each week by our friends at Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Toplock. Coach, we talked a little bit about the big beginning of this game for the Lions. Jumped out on Houston Baptist, and they come roaring back. And I hate to talk about it, but it is something that happened. That game was just a defensive touchdown by them that kind of got them going and made it 28-10 there in that second quarter.
Yeah, we did it again this week. We've done it. That's 4 weeks in a row now. So I hate to remind everybody, but people remind me. So I'll just say it again. We just got to stay away from those, man. Those are self-inflicted wounds, and that was. It was Devontae that fumbled. Nobody feels worse than he does. But after that, we start putting the ball in other people's hands. But he did have the return at the end of the game, which, doesn't make up for anything, but it just shows you what he's capable of doing and how he stayed strong during the course of the game and maintained his poise.
Absolutely, and he's a guy you've relied on a lot this year, not only in the offense but also in special teams. So,
yeah, absolutely.
He's going to with the kind of the injuries we got a little bit. In the running back position, he's a guy who's going to be needed.
He's done a great job for us. He really has. And, like I said, it's unfortunate, and nobody feels worse than he does, but we just can't do it. You can't afford those mistakes during the course of a game.
28-10, it was at that point of the game, and Houston Baptist trailed the Lions. The Lions, though, come right back and answer. And you talked about this earlier today, and as you watch it back, it really is true. Chasen found Jagan Graffia, a senior, and the coordinator has a great pass, great catch to get the Lions back on the board to go up 35-10 at that point. Jake's a senior. He's a kid that does everything you ask him to do, it seems like, out there, and he played a role in that game and has had some big catches through the course of the season, but that was a big one and a really nice throw by Chasen at that point, and an even better catch, I thought, by Jake.
Yeah, until you go back and look at the film, it's hard to realize you don't appreciate how good a throw it really was and how good a catch it was. For the ball to be dropped into that spot from that far away, because he threw it from the right hash to the left corner of the end zone. And for Jake to be able to adjust to the ball, make the first beat the defender who had pretty good coverage, but then not only beating him, but then going up and making the catch and getting his foot down in the back corner of the end zone was really good. Jake's had an up and down season for us. He hasn't done as much as he wanted to do, but he's prepared at all times. That's what we tell those guys. You're one play away from making a big play, and he's taking it to heart, as do a lot of the guys. You're one play away from being in there and having to make a big play, and we're not scared to put you in, and we're not scared to throw to you. I ask you to do the things we need you to do for us to be successful. So we threw him the ball. He went up and made the play, and we appreciate what he does for us.
You talked about it going into this game, and it was amazing on how up tempo Houston Baptist went. You warned folks about this is one of the fastest teams that we're going to play all year in terms of getting the line of scrimmage and getting the play going. And I thought that they did that really well, because I find sometimes teams, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, Coach. I feel like sometimes teams try to go almost too fast sometimes, and they get in their own way. I thought they did a good job of executing it and keeping themselves composed out there, trying to keep the rhythm going on offense.
Yeah, what concerns you about them is that a lot of teams will go fast and just hand the ball off or throw a bubble screen, something like that. They actually run concepts. Their run game's really intricate. Their pass game, the concepts that they do run down the field, they stretch you vertically and horizontally, and they throw a halfback pass on us. So if they get a lot of stuff done, I commend their coaching staff. They do a lot of good things offensively to make up for some deficiencies that they do have, and they've been successful against everybody they played this year doing that. So There's not just one or two things. A lot of times people will go up tempo, like I said, and just do one or two things. They did a bunch of stuff, and it was, it gave us some problems, especially in the second half.
You talked about that. That was the next score for the Huskies in the football game, was that halfback pass, and that's tough to defend anytime. I mean, I know that they probably didn't show that on tape coming into the game.
No, but it's not tough to defend. You got to do your job. I mean, I guess, if that was your son, it'd be tough to defend. It's not. He's got to go make that play. That's his job. He's got to do his job, and we got to maintain focus and do our job at all times. We have to handle that. Those are mistakes that we can't make.
Houston Baptist would cut the lead to 35-23 going into the locker room of this game, Coach, and they had a lot of momentum, I thought, going into the locker room in a big way. They had missed a PAT there to make it 35-23, but ultimately, I thought that your team went in that locker room, and I thought your comments going in, you were focused about, hey, this is a 4-quarter football game. We got to keep our head down. No matter how we started, we got to finish this game off.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to every game we played all year long. We got to finish these games in the right way. When we have somebody down, we got to take advantage. We can't let up. Our focus and all the things that we do from an execution standpoint, and it goes with the lack of experience in some guys who we're putting in positions that haven't played a lot of football, so they feel like, hey, we're up 28-0, we got this in the bag, and you never do. Not in college football. It just doesn't happen like that. People can score too fast, turnovers take place, things happen at a really high speed, and when those things do happen, it snowballs. You give the other team momentum, they gain confidence, they're executing at a higher rate, they're more focused, and it does the same thing, the opposite to you. And, that's what we got to get over. We got to get through that. We've done that too many times this year, and we got to continue to work on it to get out of that.
And you guys go in the locker room, and you come out with a huge drive to open the third quarter, and you guys get a touchdown on a Darren Johnson 6-yard run. You guys extend the lead at that point, 42-23. That has to make you feel good as a coach. Hey, we made some adjustments in the locker room. We came out and got off to a fast start.
We did. We got the big run to start off. Had a good return. Got it out to about midfield or just before, and then Pat Allen and Damian Dawson did a really great job on the left side. Zeke Jenkins came around and picked up the linebacker. DJ made the safety miss, and he was off to the races down to the 6. So it was a play. We went in at halftime, said, hey, let's line up like this. We'll get this front. Let's break it. Let's do something with it. And we challenged our guys again. They responded well. And then we took it in, right after that.
That was a touchdown for Darren Johnson. He finished the game 21 rushes, 127 yards for Darren.
Big day for him.
Averaging 6 yards a rush. And he's a kid that has just been consistent, I think, every game. He's been in there. I know he's probably turned the football over a little more than he's wanted to, but just a kid who's really gone in every single week and he just brought it every single week and giving you what you want as a coaching staff.
Very consistent as to who you got. Who you got. He does a great job in protections. He's our third down back because he understands our protections better than anybody else, and then catches the ball out of the backfield. Does a nice job there. But I thought he ran the ball really well the other night. Had some cuts that he had to make, and then was physical. Played tough and was physical running with the football.
Coach, this is when their quarterback kind of took over in that third quarter, really. Zappy, he made some great plays, and I thought, you talked about this a little bit earlier, but I thought he used his feet well, but he showed a really nice arm and found some guys who were open and fit the ball in some tough spots. I thought he played really well and just made the plays when he had to, it seemed like.
Yeah, we had a couple of breakdowns at the safety position, which allowed for 2 of those touchdowns to take place. And that's what we're talking about. They were going at a high tempo. We got crossed up on a couple of calls from a communication standpoint. Didn't have a safety over the top of a corner. Those guys didn't communicate that. So that allowed the big touchdown, the one touchdown down the right sideline to take place. Had another big play a little bit later on. Basically the same thing. Safety didn't get up over the top where he should have been. So when those up-tempo teams do that, they create confusion. They get you to pause. They get you to relax. And get you. You're not allowed to play fast, and we bit the bullet on that. We didn't do the things we were supposed to do.
They end the third quarter. Line still lit at that point, 42-37. But then Houston Baptist comes right back at the start of that fourth quarter. They were down there in the red zone. They do punch it in to take a 45-42 lead. But when you're in that point, your kids probably had a little shell shock on their face about how it's all played out. How do you as a coach and your staff just keep them composed and realize, hey, we got a whole full quarter of football left. Let's get this thing done here at home today.
Yeah, we remind them every day in practice, Robbie, it's the same thing. You just play the next play. And whether it was good or bad, you move to the next play. And it sounds easy to do, but it's not, because emotions sometimes step into that thing. So We knew we had to get the momentum back from them. They were sky high, but we just brought our guys back down and said, let's play this play. Don't worry about the next play, and don't worry about the last play. Play this play, and let's see what we do. And we did. We had a nice drive, put it together, and got down there and got a field goal.
That was a team, you're just kind of watching their demeanor on the field. That's a team hungry to build something in this league. And, and like you say, they had any kind of momentum. They're trying to do something, trying to build their program, try to get it going in this league. And, if they had that momentum, sometimes it's hard to overcome that. I thought your kids did through the course of the rest of the ball game.
It is, and you can't overlook the resiliency our guys showed out there on the field. Being down, having such a big lead, blowing it, other team getting ahead, taking a lead, getting it down now to the end of the game, and our guys stepped up and did some good things. We played defense, we played offense, special teams. We did some good stuff, and that allowed us to come away with a win.
Special teams played a role in not only tying the game at that point, but giving you the lead. Jonathan Tatum on nice drives by the Lions. Couldn't get in the end zone. I know that's what you want, is to get 6 there. But we do get 2 field goals by Jonathan. That's to tie the game and to take the lead at that point, 48-45. And then the game just kind of got wild as we go down the rest of the way. And they haven't
got wild.
But they have a nice drive, and they put it in the end zone there to jump up 52-48. And then, all of a sudden, it's the Lions are kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? But it seemed like Jason Virgil had the composure as the junior quarterback he is to lead his team down, as he's done a lot this season, and to get a huge touchdown on an even more incredible run after catch by C.J. Turner.
Yeah, well, it all started with Devontae's return. We got some great return yardage that night on the kickoff returns. They didn't want to kick it deep to Juwan. Our returns were about 17.5 yards per return, which doesn't sound like a lot, but our starting field position was at the 36. So they were squibbing it, which gave us a chance to get it back out there. So those are valuable yards during the course of a game that add up and allow us to have short fields. But Devontae took that one, kind of veered left and then split him and got it all the way down to the 23-yard line. Chasing hit Drya, Tolbert on the right side, and it came back to C.J. on the left side for the touchdown.
Coach, just talk about that real quick. I mean, you look back to probably Lamar is when it kind of really started. How important is it, and how big of an impact is it for you guys to just have teams just not kick to Juwan? And your field position, your starting field position is incredibly, at the 35, 40-yard line. It seems like every single time. He's not even touching the football on those kickoffs, but he's a weapon for your offense.
Yeah, it's you got to pick your poison. You want to kick to him, and then go down and cover. If you don't, then you're going to squib it and give us great field position on the return. And there's been times people are kicking the ball out of bounds, so we're getting it to 35. Well, I promise you, we're happy any way it goes. I know Juwan wants to return more balls, but we're getting great field position out of this thing.
At that point, the Lions led 55-52. Coming back in that fourth quarter, you kick it off to them. They have a nice return out up in around the 35, 40-yard line. So they're just trying to get in field goal range at that point. But I think we saw this against Northwestern too. I think Coach Chovy does a great job as a defensive coordinator. When you have those final plays on those final drives, he doesn't sit back and just let them kind of dump it underneath. He puts pressure on the quarterback. He did that against Northwestern to seal that victory in that football game on the Hail Mary. And I thought he did that this game as well on that final play when Xavier Lewis scooped and scored, took it back to the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, we had talked about it right before the kickoff about, his plan and where's it going to be and things like that, what he wanted to do. And one of the things that the quarterback had hurt us running with the football. So we didn't want him out of the pocket. We didn't want to have an opportunity for him to scramble. We couldn't have any breakdown in the rush lane, so we said, let's fill the rush lanes up. So we brought 2 guys off the edge. John Miller beat the guard with the sack, strip fumble. Xavier was there to pick it up and run it in for the touchdown. So it was a good call, but I think there's a lot of good calls, but it was very well executed by the players. So I think there's a lot of good calls that might not be executed as well. And that was a good call, but that was very well executed.
And what a cap to finish off, like I said, a wild game.
Yeah,
not the way you wanted to go, but you get the win. That's what counts.
That's what counts, man. Sometimes the journey's a lot part of it, but the win, that's important.
Yeah, no doubt. So 62-52 Lions beat the Houston Baptist Huskies on homecoming. Coach kind of putting the wrap on this game. One thing that stuck out to me, and we saw him a little bit last week against Incarnate Word, but Nathan Holiday on the kickoffs. I thought he did a really good job with some touchbacks in that game. He had the wind at his back a couple of times and just sent him out of the end zone. He's a young man. I know the future is high for him in this program. He had an injury. How's he coming back? And how's he look so
he
far?
broke his foot right before camp started, so he missed all of camp, and he's been rehabbing that thing and getting it ready. And the last couple of weeks we've used him. He's kicking the ball. He gives us height and some distance on the kickoffs, and it also allows Jonathan a chance to rest a little bit, for the field goals. So he's been a pleasant surprise for us, to say the least. He's not I guess he has a kicker's mind. Nothing bothers him. Just go out there and kick, and he's done a nice job for us this year.
Once again, DeMarcus Russell leads the way in tackles for you on this team, and Xavier Lewis as well is really bringing his game. And Braylon Thorns, I thought, those three guys, I thought they're leading in tackles, and that really says it all, because when you watch the game, they're just all over the field. It seems
and a lot of times I know with Xavier we bring him a lot on some pressures. To Marcus, same way, but all those guys are active all over the place. You'd like to. Probably Braylon not to have so many tackles, because that means you're getting to the third level. But he's down around the box a lot also, especially on the perimeter runs. But those other two should be around the football most of the time.
3 sacks for the Lions in this game as well. And
big, Robbie. That's big, man. Yeah, we've been pushing for those. Been trying to get more. We just hadn't gotten enough. And the last couple of weeks we've got a few, and 3 the other night, and some of them were really critical for us.
Well, Coach, we'll put a cap on this game. A huge homecoming victory. Houston Baptist.
Cap.
Just talk about your day, though, real quick. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but your first homecoming. That day before the game started. I want to know about what you thought about the homecoming festivities.
It was awesome. We ate here at Topolov a pregame meal, as we always do, and then headed downtown and jumped in the parade and started going through campus by Friendship Circle and got a chance to see so many people. Like I said, it was 8-10 deep, and you smelled the barbecue, the people cooking. You saw everybody on the side of the streets yelling and screaming, and it was just an awesome atmosphere. They were throwing candy off of the floats. It looked like a mini Mardi Gras. It was just fun. It truly was home. Coming home. This was home. This Louisiana is what it's supposed to look like, and it was exciting for me, exciting for the players. Just great to see. They had some great pictures. Got a chance to see all kind of people that I hadn't seen in a while, and they were standing on the side and enjoying adult beverages, having a great time.
Yeah, a lot of former players were there. I know you're trying to learn those guys' names and faces, and I saw a lot of them as well.
We had some come to practice during the course of the week. They were there Thursday and Friday. Some of those guys came to practice. It was good to see them. So it was, like I said, the entire atmosphere, everything was good. There was and the weather, top it off with the weather, right?
Absolutely. Coach, we'll put a cap on that one. 62-52 Lions win over Houston Baptist on homecoming. We'll take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to dive into the Abilene Christian Wildcats. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo, brought to you by Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction. Our host tonight, Topolov Catering on the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.
Each summer, student-athlete leaders from the Southland Conference's 13 schools get together for a retreat. Before we start another season of competition, there's time to have some fun and bond. We also share experiences of serving our campuses and communities. Together, Southland student-athletes completed more than 30,000 community service hours over the past year. We pull for each other and push to make each other better. Just part of what makes us Southland strong.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face.
You don't know me. You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter.
Shortstop.
High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Hey Lion fans, your defending Southland Conference champions return to the court very soon. We are very excited about this season. Get your season tickets now. It's going to be a great year. Line up.
Welcome back in downtown Hammond. We're here live tonight for Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction, and our friends here hosting us tonight, as always, on Monday night, Steel Block Catering. We're happy to be with you, and a lot of folks are taking a nice meal out there. I get to just watch it, and that's got to be tough for Alan each week, Coach, and you, because you got to watch these people just eat.
Alan? Really? It's tough on me. I don't know about it. I don't ask Alan.
Oh, well, I'm going to ask Alan, and I bet it's tough because I'm watching some good food come out here, and you got to wait to eat.
Some great-looking food.
But they're great to us, and they've been great so far as we've been here tonight. I know you're going to partake in something probably after the show's over, Coach. So, Coach, another home game this week. First time you got a chance to play back-to-back weeks at Strawberry Stadium. That's a big thing for any team.
It is. You know, when you get a chance to stay home, you get some momentum coming off of a win, and, you build on it. And hopefully we got another great crowd. I'm sure we will. The weather's supposed to be nice again. And, the student body was there this past week, created some excitement. The band does a good job on that sideline behind the opposing team, and our hometown fans, they're sitting on our sideline. So it's good. Our players, you can feel it. You can feel the energy. You can feel the juice in the stands, and it impacts the game.
Taking a look at Abilene Christian, another one of these newer teams in the Southland Conference. They were a long-time Division II football program and did some pretty good things at the Division II level when they were down there. And it's the Lone Star Conference, I believe they played in the state of Texas Division II. They come in here with the exact same overall record as Southeastern, 3-4 overall, but they are 2-3 in the Southland Conference, and they're coming off what I would say probably their biggest win since coming up into the FCS and playing in the Southland Conference. They beat the Nicholls State Colonels last week. It was at home, but they do beat the 11th ranked Colonels at home last week, and kind of a dominating fashion a little bit if you watch it.
Yeah, they dictated the game for the most part. I know later on in the game, Nicholls had a couple of chances. They had to go for it on fourth down, and Abilene Christian held. But throughout the course of the game, Nicholls struggled moving the football, and Abilene Christian moved the ball pretty well against them. They do some good things on both sides of the football, and it gave Nicholls some trouble. And the week before, 2 weeks earlier, McNeese just snuck by them 24-21. So they played some good teams, and they played them well. It's a program that they do a good job. They know how to win. Like you said, they had a lot of success at the Division II level. Since they moved up, they've upgraded their roster, and this is one of the better teams.
For a long time, they played at a high school stadium in town, and the reason I know that is because we went out there last year. We practiced there on Friday before going to the stadium. And they have a brand new facility, one of the best stadium outside of Strawberry Stadium in the Southland Conference. Is brand new, so they got to be recruiting to that as well, and probably seeing a higher level of talent each and every year with the new facility.
They are. They've upgraded. I talked to the coach out there. He's a great guy. I talked to him at some of the spring meetings and things like that, and how it's impacted recruiting and guys transferring in, things like that. So they got an influx of players just based on the new facilities and, helping their program along. But it's like I said, it's an up-and-coming program from the standpoint. They've been around a long time, and they've won a lot of games. But at this level, you'll see these guys continue to get better and better each year.
So Abilene Christian, you take a look at their stats, and they have the 6th and 7th leading rushers in the Southland Conference, both on their roster. Billy McRae, last week against Nicholls, had 15 carries for 91 yards, and then Tracy James had 13 carries for 41 yards. So looks like they have a couple of guys back there that are carrying the load for them to find those 28 carries they had last week.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that they have those guys that are that high because they're about 2-to-1 pass to run, the ratio. They're about 65% pass. So what tells you is that when they run the football, they're very effective doing it. They do a nice job of blocking up front. They throw the ball well on the perimeter, and then you'll see a lot of crossing routes. But they do a good job of throwing the football, which opens up the pass because people have a tendency to get out of there. So because they've got the production that they've got, they're effective running the football, which is going to present problems to anybody they play.
Luke Anthony is their quarterback. Not the biggest day numbers-wise. He was 20 of 33 against the Colonels, 209 yards, but he did throw 2 touchdowns. And he didn't get a lot of pressure. It seems like they have a pretty good offensive line that's giving him time back there.
Yeah, they do a nice job up front. He gets the ball out of his hands quick. He knows where he's going. He's well coached. He's a capable guy back there. He's not as good a scrambler probably as the guy we just played or the UIW guy. But the ball gets out of his hands pretty quick. Their receivers they use more of a tight end and 3 wide out set. Most of the time that's the personnel grouping, which allows them to run the football when they want to. But you'll see a lot of crossing routes, pick routes, Every now and then they'll stretch the field vertically, but it's interesting how fast the ball gets out of his hands where you don't have to protect so long.
Looking at their defense, Coach, and just kind of looking at Nichols' stats in this game, Nichols is a team who has wanted to run the football all season, and they kind of held them down to not being able to be very, very successful running the football on the ground last week.
Yeah, they stopped them, in throwing and passing, really. I know the quarterback at Nichols does a heck of a job. He's a really good competitor, but they got after him pretty good, and then defensively, the middle linebacker, Sanders, was the conference player of the week this week. So, it tells you a lot. But they're downhill. They're 4 down front. They're 2 inside backers, are big, heavy kids that attack the line of scrimmage. And we got to come off the football. We got to match their intensity, but we got to match the intensity of being physical. Our guys got to come off the football and go attack them on their side of the ball.
Coach, you look at he spread the football. Their quarterback, Luke Anthony, spread the football to 9 different receivers in that game.
When you look at their stats, they've got about 8 or 9 guys with 15, 18 catches. As a team. So it goes to everybody across the board. There's not really. You play Northwestern, 1 or 2 guys are going to catch the majority of the balls. UIW had a couple of guys catching them. Even this past week, they had 2 guys that kind of led the way. But all these guys are, when you look at their team stats, all of their guys are catching 22, 21, 19, 18, those balls across the way. And then running backs get involved too, along with the tight end. So they spread it around. It's not a focal guy that they go to. They're all, really good players.
Coach, I know you talked about this morning when we chatted about their defense, and it really reflects in just going back to 4K's numbers last week, he had to throw 46 times. A lot of that was trying to come back in the game because they were down so much through the entire football game. But he only threw for 261 yards, and that seems like they're a team that wants to keep stuff in front of them defensively and not allow that big play over the top.
Good tacklers, Robbie. They are. They don't miss a lot of tackles. They do a good job from that standpoint. You'll see a good football team, well-coached football team coming in here. They're not don't do a lot of stuff. Interior pressures, not too much edge stuff. Coverages disguise a little bit, but not a great deal there. They're really solid and sound, and they come get you. But like I said, like you talked about with 4K and Nichols, they tried to take some shots over the top. They defended it well, and with him throwing the football that much, they got to him a couple of times on some sacks. So
5 sacks.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do a great job keeping those guys off of chasing.
Yeah, Coach. It's gonna be a tough test, and another key factor about this game is gonna be its Hall of Fame week. We have some former student athletes heading in, and the one football member is Robert Alfer, who's going to head in to the Hall of Fame this Saturday. Just talk quickly about your early relationship with Robert.
Robert's been such a friend of the program since I got here, Robbie. He's been around. He's talked to our players, spent time. He's mentoring some of our guys. He responds daily on texts or phone calls, whatever we decide to talk back and forth on. And, his job's busy. He's pretty busy every day with Atlanta. But he's been great. Good luck. Well wishes. Don't worry about it. We'll get him next time. Keep fighting. Keep grinding. Always words of encouragement. He's done some stuff for the team, for our players. You can't ask for a better representative by university, being out there. And he truly represents Line Up or Line for Life, So I wish he could make it in. I know they can. I think they're playing in London this week, and they'll be off. Oh, they played in London this past week, right? Yeah.
No, they played at home.
Okay, yeah. So he's not going to be able to make it in, but he'll have his family will be there and things like that. But he's a great representative in Southeastern Louisiana.
And Coach, on that, he's a local kid. Played here at Hammond High School, and 5-year player. Was recruited as a freshman. That's great to see. A young man who was recruited as a freshman of this program, a local kid, make it to where he's gotten. That's what you want to do with this program going forward.
Yeah, you can do it. You can have it. It can be yours. You can do whatever you want to do. And, I'm reminded of Drew Brees talking to his 3 little sons. You can do anything you want as long as you work hard enough to do it. Well, Robert's one of those guys. His dad raised him. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you work hard enough. And there's so many other people that have done great things from Southeastern. You can get a quality education, play championship caliber football, and live in Hammond, America. Can't beat that, man. 3 for 3 is pretty good.
No doubt. Coach, we'll take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got Ask the Coach coming up, and we'll just chat a little bit more about Abilene Christian. All coming up here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction and our host tonight, Toplock Catering on the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
Hey, Lion fans, your defending Southland Conference champions return to the court very soon. We are very excited about this season. Get your season tickets now. It's going to be a great year. Line up.
Glad you're with us here. If you're listening to us on the radio, you listen to us on any kind of smartphone, or watching us here on Facebook Live. We are at Topla Catering in downtown Hammond, another edition of Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction, and our hosts here tonight and all year that do a great job here at Topla Catering. I'm sitting in for Alan Waddell today. I'm Robbie Rhodes. Glad to be with you. Alan will be back next week. So you've already, people probably who didn't like me, have already probably tuned out.
I don't know if they did. Maybe.
So me saying that probably doesn't do any good.
Maybe they tuned out on Allen. I don't know. They might want you back next week.
You tweeted out.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of that part. Leave me out of this.
Can you just tweet that after this show and just say, listen?
You and him work through that situation. I'm good. I like both of y'all.
That says a lot.
I don't know what it says a lot about.
Well, Coach, it's good to be with you, and it's really good to be here after the big win we had against Houston Baptist last week. And just wrapping up this Abilene Christian team, talk about practice yesterday in the meeting and how you guys want to approach this week against the Wildcats.
Yeah, same way we approach every week, and focusing on the things that we can correct, enhance the things that we're doing well, and continue to dwell on both of those. And we got to continue to grow and mature. We still got 4 weeks of the season left, and this is an important week for us. And you talked about it earlier. We do control our own destiny, and we control our own destiny no matter what the standings say. It's our job and it's our responsibility to represent this university each and every Saturday. And no matter what the record says or what the school board says, we got to go out there and play hard, and we're doing that right now for 60 minutes. We just got to play smarter and stay more focused for 60 minutes. And if we do that, things will take care of themselves. That school board will be a pleasure to watch.
Coach, I want to go back to the Houston Baptist game real quick. I didn't mention this earlier, but I wanted to. We talked about a couple seniors who had some great games on their homecoming. Julius Marcelon, who came back, he's been battling injury really for the last 2 years, but he came back, and I thought he had some real physical runs in that second half. He ended up with 70 yards rushing on 14 carries, a lot of that coming in that third and fourth quarter, and I thought just really kind of maybe changed you guys, really that downhill physical run style he brings to the table.
Well, he does. You could feel the energy on the sideline, and I think I said earlier that I thought they were booing us for a second.
Yeah.
But instead of boo, it was Jews, and so that was good to hear. I mean, he energized everybody, and he did a nice job. He's been, like I said, he had a tough camp, tough first few weeks of the season, but he's been fighting through some things. He wants to play. He's trying to get out there, and he's working towards getting out there on a regular basis. And he did a nice job for us in the second half, provided some energy, and gave us a lift. And it was good to see.
When you have those bumps and bruises as a team, as you get in the back half of the year, it may be good to have a young man like that who has not had a bulk of carries in the first half, who can kind of help Darren and can kind of help Devontae in those situations when they need to get those tough yards through the course of the football game.
Yeah, and he provides some physicality. He's not a shake and juke and all that other stuff as a runner. He's going to lower his head, and he's going to get his pads down, and you're going to have to bring it if you're going to knock him down. So he did a nice job. He delivers a blow. He's a physical player. He's a leader. He's had a great career here, and he wants to continue it for the next 4 weeks. And it's a tribute to him and his heart and competing out there every day, overcoming a lot of things and going out there and competing.
And you mentioned him earlier on the fumble that sealed the game was John Miller, who's another senior who's I thought had a really good year as well, the defensive line.
He did. He's holding a point for us. He's been so steady and consistent inside. He's our best defensive lineman. He provides. He's the rock in the middle. Provides a lot of presence for our guys. The rest of the guys makes a lot of the calls for the front along with the linebackers. And now John's awesome. He had to miss Sunday. He's in the National Guard, so he does his obligations to our country for every now and then he's got to go do some things, but that just shows you the kind of person he is to be able to do both.
Coach, Abilene Christian, one more time on that note on them. I mean, they have a second-year coach there. Are you seeing any tendencies in them really trying to buying into what that new coaching staff that brought in last year really wants to do on that tape and really just being fundamentally sound? It seems like, is that about that new staff just kind of having kids buy into what they want to do there?
Yeah, I think it's always important. Everybody pulling in the same direction. And if you got that, then you got something special. Outside influences don't break up teams. It always comes from the inside out. So when you have the guys in there that believe and everybody has the same philosophy and they're pulling in the same direction, then you overcome things. And I think that's where we are right now. Guys are still trying to find their way, but they're seeing us overcome. We got some resiliency. We got some things that when things go bad, some guys when things go bad, they have a tendency to hang because they're not sure which way to go. But we got a lot of guys that are saying, "Come on, get behind me. I'll pull you through." And it's pretty neat to watch the evolution take place within our own locker room, much less somebody else's.
Well, Coach, that wraps it up for Abilene Christian. We're going to take our final break. We're going to come back and we'll do our Ask the Coach segment, and then we'll wrap it up here and we'll get ready for Saturday night in Strawberry Stadium. Should be fun. So we'll take a final break. We'll come back here in just a moment for Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction and our host tonight, Topla Catering, on the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.
Hey Lion fans, I'm Frank Scelfo, the head football coach for your Southeastern Lions. It's important for us to excel on the field, but it's even more important for us to recognize our great community partners.
That's why we have this exciting new promotion here at Big Frog with Southeastern Athletics.
Come by our Big Frog location on Southwest Railroad Avenue for exclusive Frank Scelfo design shirt.
That's right. When you wear your exclusive shirt to any Lions football game in Strawberry Stadium, be sure to stop by the concession stand to claim your free order of nachos for being a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics and Big Frog.
So hurry on down to Big Frog at our Hammond location and pick up your shirt today.
Line up and frog on.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face.
You don't know me. You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter.
Shortstop.
High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Welcome back inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction. And our host tonight, as always, Topla Catering, doing a fantastic job hosting everybody here tonight for a great dinner after a Lion victory over Houston Baptist, 62-52. Lions will point their attention this coming week to Abilene Christian coming into Strawberry Stadium for a 7 o'clock kickoff in the stadium. So that should be another great night for Lion football. Coach, it's now time for our Ask the Coach segment. We did some questions that came in. Alan tried to tell me how to do this, but there we go. Coach Mike from Amite wanted to know, just comment, you talked about a little bit earlier, the big night for the running game of your team.
Yeah, it's been a stress for us. Not that you don't want the ball in Chasen's hands all the time, but sometimes you just have to impose your will on another team up front. And it's important for us to be able to do that. If we're going to be a physical football team, and we're going to say we're a physical football team, we got to show it out on the field. We can't just be. We can't just talk about it. We got to be about it. And we did a good job. We had some points of attack. We moved the line of scrimmage. I thought Pat Allen played probably his best game this season, and he did a nice job. Branson Schwabel had a really good game on the perimeter. We got some good outside runs because of that. So when we were able to do that, we were able to move the football on the ground. We can dictate a lot of things that take place during the course of the game.
Coach, Daniel from Hammond was asking, with 4 games left, Coach, what does this team have to do to make that final jump and find a way to win this league and get in the playoffs?
Yeah, we got to play. We got to be sound. Win this week and play sound football. Don't turn it over. It's going to sound, like it's the same thing every week, but it dictates wins and losses. You don't turn it over and get turnovers, and you'll have a chance to win games. And and sometimes the momentum gets going. You start playing well at the right time. You can take off. Your team can get hot and take off. Are we there? I don't know. We'll find out on this Saturday. See how it goes, and then you got to do it again the next week. It never stops. But the turnovers is the big thing. Making sure we don't make those mistakes.
Coach, Spencer from Hammond asked, Coach, can you put your finger on one thing that's allowing teams to come back on us in the second half?
Yeah, absolutely. Turnovers. We turned it over against UIW, and they got 6 points out of it, and we turned it over again, and they took a lead. Same thing happened this past night. Northwestern came back late in the game against us on a touchdown turnover. We did it against Lamar. So, it's easy. You pinpoint it. You go straight back to those. We're not getting them, and we're turning it over, so it's a double-edged sword for us. And we're working on it. Believe me, we spend a lot of time working on it. We talk about it. We teach it, the fundamentals all the time. We talk about stripping and interceptions. We talk about holding on to the football and making good decisions with the football in your hands, and we'll continue to do that.
Well, Coach, that'll wrap it up for us here today. It's a pleasure sitting with you here, and best of luck this week. Congratulations on the big win against Houston Baptist last week. Like I said, it's always great to win homecoming. That final was 62-52 for the Lions over Houston Baptist. Abilene Christians, a 7 o'clock kickoff in Strawberry Stadium. We'll be on the air for airtime 6:30 on the network, so join us then. Lion Walk will get going
about 4 o'clock.
About 4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 or 5, right?
So you have opportunity to kind of check the Lions out, talk to them before the game, and get a really good glimpse of this Lion football team. Only 2 more chances to see the Lions in Strawberry Stadium in 2018, this coming Saturday, and then in 2 weeks the Lions will take on McNeese State there. So get out and check them out. It should be a great day for football. We hope for some great weather again and a Lion victory.
Well, Robbie, I appreciate you filling in for Alan. And you might have done more than fill in. I don't know. He might be nervous where he's at right now.
He should be.
A lot of people might not know who Wally Pipp is, but I thought he did a nice job. You guys don't know who Wally Pipp is. Y'all better look him up.
Well, I'll leave that to you, Coach. I want to thank all the people who helped us get on the air. Our friend Colton doing the Facebook Live tonight. All the fans and the guests. Thanks for making me feel at home tonight. Here doing this show, it's always good to have people clapping for you. You like that? I don't get that at home. I get it here, right? Also, our on-site engineer, Jay Cooper, doing a good job getting us on the air tonight. Appreciate her, SID, Kenmore Chapel, and our good buddy Richie Clark, the dude here on site, helping us out as well. So, Coach, we'll see you in Strawberry Stadium Saturday night. I'll see you there, right?
Absolutely, man. We'll be there, 4 o'clock. Love to see y'all at the Lion Walk.
All right, Coach, that'll do it for us tonight. It's Inside Southeastern Football with head coach Frank Scelfo. It's brought to you by our friends at Louisiana's First Choice Auto Auction and our host here tonight, Toplock Catering. 7 o'clock kickoff, Lions and Wildcats from Strawberry Stadium. 6:30 airtime on the network. We'll see you then, folks. This has been a presentation of the Southeastern Lions Radio Network.